folks. Didn't see that coming against Northwestern. I don't think any of you did either. The loss to Northwestern, while very disappointing, to say that Iowa was going to lose another football game to Northwestern, none of us would have wanted to believe it, but it's not, man bites dog type of a story. But losing Rick Stanzi on the sack in the end zone, very difficult to swallow. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I think Iowa's going to go into the horseshoe and necessarily beat Ohio State. I'm going to tell you how they're going to beat Ohio State if it happens. I don't think Iowa's going to come out and do much differently on offense. I think they might shrink down the playbook a little bit, give Jame Vandenberg some things that he's comfortable with, that he executes this week in practice. But I don't expect the Wildcat, certainly not with Marvin McNutt, if they run any sort of wild hawk. And I know they have that package. It would be with Darrell Johnson, Koulianos, not McNutt, because I don't think McNutt is quick enough. Koulianos played quarterback in high school too, if you'd forgotten that. So I think Iowa comes out and tries to do what it tries to do. Don't know if that sounds good. Iowa comes out and does what it normally tries to do. How about that? On offense, I think they're going to still try to run the football. They have to. You just can't come out and wing it 50, 55 times. Because if you lose a close game or something along those lines, Kirk Ferentz may think, why didn't we come out and just try to do our bread and butter? Or rather, if you get blown out, in that instance, you would always have a regret. Iowa's defense is still Iowa's defense. And Ohio State's offense is not prolific. This is nowhere near as prolific or as dangerous an offense as Ohio State had in 2006 when that team came to Kinnick Stadium. Terrell Pryor will still make mistakes. Iowa still has one of the best pass defenses in the nation and one of the top 15 or top 20 defenses totally in college football. Ohio State's going to try to run the ball too. This is going to be a very conservative game. Could be a low-scoring game. If Iowa wins, it's probably going to have to be low-scoring. Dan Herron and Brandon Sain, the running backs for Ohio State, both of them have trick ankles right now. They're not 100% physical either. And Terrell Pryor can be coerced and confused into throwing interceptions. And Ohio State's place kicker is also injured for the season. Their number one place kicker. That happened a couple of weeks ago. Iowa just can't afford fatal mistakes and fatal flaws on their side of the 50-yard line, something that we've been saying all season with Rick Stanzi, who has as many interceptions as any quarterback from a BCS conference in all of college football, except he has that been-there-before factor that Jame Vandenberg doesn't have. I'll leave you with this. I talked with Dave Refson on Wednesday of this week from the Big Ten Network, and he'd spent time with Jerry DiNardo and Howard Griffin, the two studio analysts that you see every week on the Big Ten Network. After they watched the All-22 video, the coach's video of the second half of the Iowa-Northwestern game, they came away feeling a lot better about Jame Vandenberg. They saw him recognize where open receivers were and try to go to those guys. He just couldn't execute the passes in that situation. They also saw him recognize when there wasn't anything there to throw to, and he threw the ball out of bounds. I think Vandenberg threw the ball out of bounds more time in the second half against Northwestern than Stanzi had maybe in the last 2 years combined, his 21 starts as a quarterback for the University of Iowa. They feel better about Vandenberg. Vandenberg's going to get better in practice this week, but going into the horseshoe, very long odds. Iowa has only won twice there since the 1950s. The odds were going to be stacked against Iowa had Stanzi been healthy. Would be a great boost to get Adam Robinson back this week. Still don't know if that's going to happen. I wouldn't bet on that either. I think Ohio State wins this game, but the table is set. The table is set for one of the greatest days in Iowa athletics history. Should the Hawkeyes come out of the horseshoe victorious, nearly 3 touchdown underdogs. The table is set for that to happen. I have not given up all hope, and if it happens, it's Rose Bowl for Iowa, and I think each and every one of us would never, ever forget that game. We'll see what happens.